Good evening, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a subject to you that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and that is skepticism. Skepticism. Two kinds, really. There's the healthy and the unhealthy skepticism. Hopefully I can go over these in a couple of minutes. So why is skepticism possibly healthy and helpful, and when would it not be? Maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not. It was not always obvious to me, so if this helps somebody, that will make my video worth it. Skepticism keeps you out of trouble. That which you fail to question will eventually be used against you. Eventually is the word. Maybe not right away, but if you take anything without question, if you take anything without examining it, understanding it at least a little bit, including and especially orders from anywhere, then you're not just going to be taken advantage of, but you might be getting yourself into hot water as far as being complicit with something if the person issuing the orders or their superiors are committing a crime of some kind. This is, proven throughout history in so many ways, so many examples. There's tons of empires and leaders and administrators and military officials and police officials who have eventually been condemned, convicted of war crimes, crimes against humanity, things that eventually come out, and they never thought they would be tried and prosecuted for them. But it's just one example. Why is skepticism healthy and good to have? Just a grain of questioning, of curiosity, because you have ownership over your choices. Now here's the thing, when somebody gives you an order, you have a responsibility. Anybody does. I do. I'll speak for myself. If I receive a command or an order, a requirement, I am obligated, socially and ethically obligated, to understand at least enough of it so that I'm not committing a crime. If somebody orders you to kill somebody, do you not question that, for example? And this is sort of a big subject, right? Because the military trains soldiers literally to not question those types of commands. They are very specifically and deliberately trained to not question those types of orders and to do what they're told. Rush into battle, kill that guy, do it. Don't ask, just do it. But is that proper? Is that excusable? And what if there's a problem? What if there's an error? What if the information is bad? Shoot. I mean, I understand efficiency. I do. I get that there's a point where subordinates just have to do it, and they're not paid or empowered or informed enough to make those kinds of decisions. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about full disclosure and total autonomy. I'm talking about at least understanding and having some kind of confidence that it's not just murder. There's a big area in between those two things, right? It's not either, murder or total ignorance. It's, hopefully you understand a little bit of it. That's the idea. So skepticism is that middle ground where you have an inclination towards, questioning things, if not internally, then, possibly externally via what we hope would be some kind of channels of communication, some kind of feedback, which draws into question the whole structure of, what chains of command that are a monologue, right? A monologue does not have dialogue by definition. It's one or the other. They aren't the same thing. And when you have a monologue or a monologue culture, an entire culture built around zero questioning, you have a problem immediately with ethical choices, because people just have no opportunity for clarification. They have no opportunity to ask for expansion or reasoning, some kind of explanation, because sometimes it's an honest oversight. Sometimes a commander or a boss just fails to explain something completely, and if you're just not allowed to ask for clarification and you're expected to just do it, maybe you didn't understand the command. There's so many reasons why dialogue is only reasonable, if nothing else. It's the basic minimum starting point of having any kind of ethical structure whatsoever. There has to be feedback. Absolutely has to be feedback. So that's what I'm getting at. Now there's unhealthy skepticism as well. There's what's known widely as paranoia. There's reading into things, assuming, jumping to conclusions. Skepticism can trespass into that domain where it's overly inquisitive. it goes down rabbit holes to the point of detriment to the mission or whatever, the job, and quality begins to suffer, and it becomes so habitual and repetitive that a boss might legitimately and reasonably complain about it and say, look, I don't invoke the I don't pay you to know everything kind of argument. That's valid too. So it's kind of a tricky, delicate balance between having too much information or asking too many questions and not asking enough questions. You just got to kind of intuit what's proper and what's reasonable. And so this is where your gut comes in. Intuition is powerful. Intuition and your conscience, your own personal conscience, when you find clues, there are always clues, right? The pattern of the last command and this command and what you expect to be the next command is going to paint some kind of picture. And if you don't have a right feeling about that, if you feel like maybe you're doing something wrong because you misunderstood or because the command itself is inappropriate, you have to question that. And this is what I'm talking about. But it's difficult. And I would say that people who become skilled at this kind of thing, knowing when to insist on questioning, are the ones who rise, because you will find bad bosses. Bosses get fired. I'm going to say that one more time. Bosses get fired all the time. And your success depends on knowing which bosses to follow and which ones not to follow. You do not just follow all your bosses, or else you go down with the bad ones. Guaranteed. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Speaking of feedback and questioning, take care.